So let's talk about the eclipse. So the full moon partial eclipse in the houses based on the ascendant. So that's what we're going to be exploring in this video today. If you know the degree of your ascendant, all the better, because I do consider degrees. And we have two parts, early degrees, late degrees. And the way I shared in this video is early will be 0 to 5 and late will be 6 to 29, because this full moon eclipse will be happening at 5 degrees Taurus. So that's how the division is going to be working. One more thing before I share my screen and place the eclipse in the houses and tell you a little bit about it, is that I do not use whole house system. So I do create the chart based on the degree of the ascendant. So the first house will be based on the degree of the ascendant, and the house system that I choose to do these videos is equal house system. So don't worry if you're looking at it and you're thinking, gosh, that's not how I would do it. That's because I choosing a different house system. So let's dive in without delays. I'm delaying a bit too much. So let me share my screen and reminding you that this is constructive astrology. So we are not going to be talking about all the things that might be wrong and how self-fulfilling prophecy might be the result. But we're going to be focusing on manifesting these energies in a constructive, positive, creative way so you can co-create the life that you want to live using astrology. So that's my goal with astrology. I am friend of the Paiva Hitchhiking Stars. Welcome. And welcome again if you're coming here your second, third, fifth time, I don't know. And let's dive in then. Let's dive in. So just before I start, I will put out a video on Friday about the chart of the whole configuration of this full moon eclipse, okay? So the full moon will be happening on Saturday, the 28th of October, auspicious time, or auspicious day. And so I will be talking about the chart of the full moon on Friday. So I've got transits Fridays, which come out every Friday. So if you're interested, have a look at that. I will be talking a lot more deeply about the whole configuration, the whole chart, all of the other planets, how they're playing out as well in this full moon. And so then you can use today's video and Friday's video and connect your own dots, put your own pieces of the puzzle and find out how do you want to interact with these energies. How do you want, what kind of intentions for release, what kind of letting go do you need to do, etc. All right. And reminding that full moons are usually culminations. They're usually showing something up for us that's really clear, that becomes really big and obvious in our lives. When it comes to eclipses, it tends to be a little bit more dramatic as well. That might be a very strong emotional release that's happening as well with this, but it might be something exciting. It doesn't have to be something dramatic and awful and really difficult, but it can be something positive as well. Positive new beginnings do happen during eclipse season, all right? But it might be a purging, it might be detoxing, releasing. And if you're not feeling great during this eclipse season, know that this too shall pass. And if you don't necessarily act impulsively, you might be able to use these energies in a more positive way. Okay, so this is my token here of wisdom about these eclipse and this full moon eclipse in particular. Let's dive into the eclipse in the houses based on the ascendant, all right? So we're going to start as usual with 0 Aries. So we're going to go early degrees Aries, late degree Pisces, because they are together, okay? So they're going to have the eclipse in the same house. So 0 to 5 Aries and 6 to 29 Pisces. This full moon eclipse will be happening in your second house. So the moon will be in the second, the sun will be activating your 8th house, and it will be about resources very much. There's going to be a lot about values. We're talking about second house from a deeper perspective. It's not just your money. It's not just how you make money or how much money you have or how you spend your money, but it's what you value, because money is value attributed to paper or to numbers now. So it's really about your values and letting go of values that don't make sense anymore, that's not really healthy, that doesn't speak to you anymore. So beware of anything that's a bit, and it could be about your work situation in a sense of how you make your money and how that's aligned or that's not aligned to your values anymore. It could be your actual relationship to money as well. So if that's something you've been struggling, you've been trying to change, you've been trying to renegotiate, you know, with yourself, with your mindset, really, I think that's something that you can work with. That's something that you can set intentions for, you know, changing your relationship with the material world, with money, but also with your self-worth. So again, if that's something you've been struggling, you've been noticing situations that might be triggering that, I really want to make clear here that whatever is happening during the full moon, the intensity of the build up, the day of the full moon as well, is a pointer. It's showing you something. So if you feel really devalued at work, or if you feel that you're really not earning what you deserve, that's going to become more intensified during this full moon eclipse for you to really pay attention to. It's like it's really, really calling attention to that. Okay. So again, self-worth, values, money as well, potentially, but also your resources. What do you have as a resource might be there as well for you to pay attention to change your relationship with, to start a new phase connected to that, etc. Okay, the moon in Taurus will also be reflective of that theme anyways, because the second house is the natural house of Taurus. So we will be already talking about something connected to our self-worth, to values, to how we value things, how we hold on to things as well. And I think that's the challenge for this full moon. But I will be talking about the configuration of the full moon a little bit more specifically on Friday. All right. So this is what this full moon is activating for you. Early Aries, late Pisces. Now let's go to late Aries and early Taurus. And as I move, you're going to see the sun and the moon changing houses. And I might take the moon off this chart just so then, because the moon moves faster, blah, blah, blah. Well, don't need to know that. I might do that later. Okay, so late Aries, early Taurus, these full moon eclipses will be happening in your first house and with the sun in the seventh house as well. So with the first house, it will be about letting go of tendencies connected with how you come out into the world, with how you see yourself, with how you express yourself. So it has to do with partnerships, because we're talking about the axis of the first and the seventh house. But with the moon falling on the first house, it is about your own attitudes. It is about your own perspective, your own makeup, your own style, your own way of interacting with other people. So it's not really about other people bringing the stress to you, but how you deal with that. How do you express yourself, and how do you want to express? So this is a time where you want to question yourself around that. You want to ask yourself those questions. Understand your own identity, your own sense of who you are, your own sense of individuality, and pay attention to any dynamic that might be coming from your own behavior that you're ready to let go of. That's basically what this is going to be about for you, you know, and it's a whole theme that is clustering around the first house, and we could talk about the first house for hours, but that's not what we're going to be doing. So in a nutshell, this is what you're going to be working with, late Aries, early Taurus. And reminding that obviously early Taurus will have that moon on your ascendant. And the closest the full moon is to any of your angles, the more immediate that energy is going to be, the stronger that energy is going to be felt. Okay, so if you have 5 degrees Taurus rising, that's really strong. It's going to be right on your ascendant. So the theme of who you are, how you come across, how you relate, how you initiate the dynamics with another person will be very powerful. Okay, so the closest to your ascendant, the more powerful this is going to be, the more visible it will be in your life, the more you're going to feel the effects of this partial full moon eclipse. Okay, now for the late Taurus, and so the late Taurus and the early Gemini. So let's keep moving. We're still on Aries. Look, so early Taurus, la la la. So the late Taurus, there we go. and the early Gemini, this full moon eclipse will be happening in your 12th house. So in your 12th house and the 6th house here, there can be a lot of work behind the scenes that you can be doing with this energy, with the energy of the full moon. So you might be getting in touch with a lot of ancestral issues connected with self-worth, connected with valuing yourself, being in connection to your values as well. You know, all of the Taurian flavors that this full moon is representing, is bringing forward to all of us. For you in particular, will be in the 12th. So the 12th is about ancestral and conscious lineages and how the lineage worked with that, how the lineage dealt with holding on to things. I think this full moon has a very strong connection with letting go, how to let go, how to not let go. What are we holding on for too long? Excuse me, because both Scorpio and Taurus tend to struggle letting go. That's a common theme between the two. So with the 12, is anything that's unconscious, that's hidden, that's under the surface that you can't see very clearly. And I do think that's got to do with the family myth, with something, you know, and then again, obviously it could be if you work behind the scenes, it could be about your work behind the scenes as well. Are you being valued? Are you not being valued, you know, in the service that you're offering there, that you're not claiming credit for? I think that's the 12th house. But also on another level, on another layer here, it could be spiritual, your connection to the spiritual world, developing psychic abilities. That's another one, you know, because that's a 12th house flavor here as well. How are you working? How are the foundations that you're laying on your psychic work as well, and your communication to the other side, to the other world? So those are all like clustered around the 12th house, and it's about your personal situation. No matter how much of a general reading I give here in the channel, is always about weaving into your natal chart. Not only weaving into your natal chart, but weaving into your personal story. What is it that you've been working with, you know, lately, this whole year? And that's going to be highlighted during this full moon eclipse. Okay, great. So let's move on to late Gemini and early Cancer rising. So for the late Gemini, early Cancer rising, we're going to have the full moon eclipse happening in the 11th house. So the moon in Taurus is in the 11th, the sun is in the 5th house. And here, I think for you, what the big theme here is going to be is being part of a group. How much are you valued for who you are in a, you know, in a group situation? Do you have a sound group of friends? Are there any people that you need to let go of? That's, you know, full moon eclipse for you is like a non-negotiable, and is a big sort of transition and new beginning in our life. So it's going to be a new beginning that has an 11th house flavor to you. So groups of friends, groups of people in general, organizations. If there's an organization, an NGO that you work for, that you give money to, that a cause that you believe in, that you're going to have to review, you're going to have to revisit, you're going to have to see, you know, separate what makes sense from what doesn't make sense anymore. You know, do you feel that you can have a sense of self-worth in this group, in this particular cause, with this particular hope for the future? That's 11th house as well. So the purging is happening in the 11th house, and it's illuminating, you know, because the sun is in the 5th, is illuminating your sense of identity, your sense of individuality there, and creative prowess, you know, your creative power there. So there's something about being creative and having to respond and to answer to a group, and how that's intervening with your creativity, etc. So that's the full moon happening in the 11th house, activating all of these different topics and themes and etc. Being part of a community. Do you have a community? Do you not have? Are you searching for a community? What's going on in that area for you? All right. Now, for the late Cancer rising and the early Leo rising, these full moon eclipse will be happening in the 10th house. So the 10th house. Now, with the 10th house, what the let go is, the new beginning is about career, is about what your role is in society, what is your reputation, what is that you're building out there, and what is that you're ready to move on from. So again, I'm going to remind you here, I'm giving these general readings as personal as I can, separating into degrees and etc. But I'm giving you this general reading so you can work with these energies in the most personal way possible for you. So think about 10th house related issues that you might be facing, that you might be going through. And what is that you need to let go of? What is that you're ready to move on from? And because it's in Taurus, there's usually a sense of self-worth that's connected with the issues. The moon in Taurus will be bringing self-worth issues and things that we're ready to let go, things that we're holding on too much that's affecting our sense of self-worth, our sense of inner validation, you know, or a connection to our values, a dissonance between our values and a specific area that we're ready to move on from. And the house will be telling us what area that's happening. And so for you, late Cancer, early Leo, is the 10th house, is the most visible place in your natal chart. So it's the most visible role that you have as well. So then your personal situation will add more information to it. Are you a housewife? Are you a staying mom that's missing to have a role that's not just being a mother? Well, there's something to do with that. Or are you in your career path and there is a role, there's something that you've been playing that doesn't make sense anymore? Or are you rebranding yourself? If you're an entrepreneur, you're beginning to do something by yourself. That's what, you know, this is going to be about for you. But remember, that's about staying with your values, letting go of what doesn't resonate with your values anymore, because that's what Taurus asks from you as well. You know, knowing what your value is. And that's in the 10th house. So that's the career house. Now for you with the midheaven in Taurus at 5 degrees Taurus, then that's going to be even more powerful. That's going to be even stronger. The feeling of a new beginning in your career, or a release of the old in your career, moving on from something in your career, in your brand, in your name, out there in the world, you know, and what you do and what you offer to the world. All right. Now, for the late Leo and the early Virgo, this full moon will be happening in the 9th house. So here what we have highlighted is a worldview, is a new worldview, is an old worldview that you're ready to let go of, something that you've done with that doesn't align with your sense of who you are or with your sense of self-worth as well, because that's the Taurus. So something that you're ready to move on that doesn't support your true core values. When we have Taurus, we really need to think very seriously about our core values and think about the situation. In your case, late Leo, early Virgo, is a 9th house, 3rd house situation, is about thinking, is about communicating, is about belief system, is about a worldview, is about teaching, is about higher education, or is about traveling the world, relating with foreigners, but all of that in connection to your values, in connection to your core values, and eliminating anything in those areas that will be pressing you to eliminate, because it's a full moon eclipse, to let go of in that area of your life, with that flavor, with that Taurian flavor. All right. So this is what and where this full moon eclipse will be happening for you, early Virgo, late Leo. Now, for the late Virgo and the early Libra as well, these full moon eclipse will be happening in the 8th house. So we have a shift, right? So with the full moon falling in the 8th house, now we're talking about values as well, but we're also talking about shared resources. Are you sharing resources with someone and not standing by for your values? Are you not working for your own sense of security? Are you not capable of asking for help or receiving help? That's an 8th house issue as well. You know, receiving resources and how difficult it is for you to receive. Potentially, that's part of the process. It could be an investment that you're looking for, that you're searching for, that will come out potentially, or that will be denied as well. We don't know. It depends on your story, all of the other transits you're having, and etc. So we need to weave that into your natal chart, into your personal experience. But with the 8th house, there's tremendous potential for healing, because we're talking about the Scorpio house, the water house, is everything that's hidden from our consciousness as well. All right. 8th house talks about psychological processes, deep psychological ingrained beliefs as well. So you could work with deep ingrained beliefs that you're ready to let go of, connected to your sense of self-worth. That's the 8th house. You're ready to heal. You're ready to change that. You're ready to believe in your ability to create, to make money, to have security, to have emotional security. That's the 8th house in Taurus, right? Or deep intimacy. If you're developing a relationship with somebody and you're getting to that stage, that could also be about that. All right. You really need to weave this into your life. What you know here is that it will be in your 8th house. It could be a depth in your psychic studies. I think that's an 8th house as well, esoteric studies. You know, the 12th house is about that natural connection with the psychic world and dreams and things that happen in a more involuntary way. The 8th house is more voluntary. It's like, I'm studying, I'm doing, I'm researching. I think 8th house has a kind of research flavor to it. So all those esoteric traditions that you're researching, you might have breakthroughs. You might be ready to let go of a tradition that you followed before, but it doesn't resonate with your values anymore. So think about it. See what really resonates where you're at in your life. All right. Now, for the late Libra and the early Scorpio, this full moon will be happening in the 7th house. Now we have an inversion, right? An inversion of the Aries and the early Taurus, because the focus isn't on your attitudes anymore, but your focus is on what you accept from others. All right. With the full moon happening in the 7th is an old type of people that you attract in your life that you're ready to let go of. What people are there, what partnerships are there in your life that does not resonate with your values, that you're ready to cut, or you're ready to leave behind, to move on from? Or attitudes towards those partnerships that do not resonate with your values anymore, or types of partnerships in itself that does not resonate. Are you ready to go on your own? Are you ready to do things on your own? If you're talking about a business partnership, then that's what you're letting go of, because your core values now are connected with independence and we're doing things your way at this stage. I don't know. You're the one who can answer, right? Within your story, within your personal situation, what you're going through. But it is a 7th house full moon eclipse in Taurus. So it's got to do with the stability as well. If you haven't got stability in your partnerships, you know, how can you claim that back? By looking at the type of people you're attracting into your life, by looking at the type of people you're saying yes, you're welcoming into your life, and closing the gates for the people that do not resonate, that do not respect you, that do not fulfill or respect your integrity. Your sense of self-worth is being hurt by these people. So you're ready to let go of them. You're ready to move on from them, not give your time to them anymore. All right. And obviously, the early Scorpio rising will have the full moon bang on your descendant, the closest to your descendant. So the closest to the 5th degree rising in Scorpio, then the closer that moon is going to be opposite to your ascendant. So it will be even stronger. You might be connected with separations, with moving on from a relationship, with the crisis in a relationship, or with someone that's actually very stable and you're finally learning about stability in your relationships. You know, Scorpio rising is drama driven, is death and rebirth and, you know, psychological transformation. So it might be a change on that, because sometimes the dark side of Scorpio is being a crisis junkie and just changing and killing things just for the emotion, the strong, you know, the thrill of that, because you're so accustomed to. So it might be about learning how to cultivate, attracting someone that's actually very stable, very loyal, very trustworthy, and that changes your relationships for good, right? So we don't know. We don't know. You know. Do some soul searching and share in the comments. Share in the comments. How is that going for you? Are you resonating with it, etc.? Now, for the late Scorpio and the early Sagittarius, these full moon eclipses will be happening in the 6th house. And the 6th house is attitudes towards service. Yeah, attitudes towards service, work, daily job, health habits. If there's anything that you're ready to cut off, let go, say, okay, I'm done with this behavior. I'm done with not being active in my life. I'm done with smoking cigarettes, or, you know, anything that you're ready to move on from. Habits that do not fulfill you or do not respect your integrity, that does not bring you well-being in some way. You know, self-destructive behaviors, you can let go of them now. You can work on that energy to cut it off. If it's something that we're ready to let go of, that we're ready to move on from, then think about 6th house and anything that you're ready to move on from in the 6th house arena. But it could be connected with work as well, with daily work, with daily colleagues, or, you know, work colleagues that you're ready as well to move on, that does not align with your values. With this full moon eclipse in Taurus is to think about core values. Make lists of your core values. Think about your core values. Practice them. Invite them into your life. Use them to make decisions. Use them to navigate the changes that the eclipse is reflecting. Core values. They are very, very important, especially with the Taurus full moon eclipse. All right. Now, with the late Sag and the early Capricorn, this full moon will be happening in your 5th house. Again, we have an inversion from the Gemini and the early Cancer as well. So the full moon is happening in the 5th. And so the attitudes is about creation. What attitudes around creation that you're ready to let go of? Are you valuing your own creation? Are you valuing your creative energy? Are you giving rise to it? Are you not? Are you creating things that are based on your core values or not? What are you ready to let go of and cut off from your life? Move on from your life? Is it attitudes towards children, towards your children, relationship with your children that you're ready to move on from, that you're ready to change in some way, that will be more respectful of your integrity as an individual? You know, that will fulfill your sense of self-worth a little bit more, that won't create conflict with that. That's all the 5th house, you know, connection here. Creation, creating. What is the process? Fun. Are you having fun? Are you not having fun? Attitudes towards fun as well, because that's also important. Is a, you know, healing, to have fun, to enjoy yourself every now and then. So it could also be connected. It could also be healing your inner child as well. Are you aligned with your inner child? That's a great time to get in touch with your inner child and reassure that child inside you and hold hands with it, you know, the grown-up you and the child bit of you. So great healing could happen as well. More stability with your inner child, etc. All right. Now, for the late Capricorn, or sorry, Yeah, for the late Capricorn. Sorry, no, I'm right. So for the late Capricorn and the early Aquarius, this full moon will be happening on your 4th house. Okay. Now, the changes of attitudes are connected with your home life, with your family life, with where you come from, with your past, with your actual home environment as well. Is that anything that you're ready to move on from, that you're ready to let go, that doesn't align with your value system, with, you know, who you are anymore, that house is not you, or those things that you have in your house that you've been like, is a great time to do the Marie Kondo thing and just go around your house and say, does this spark me joy? Does I actually wear this? Do I actually use this? Is this on the way? Am I just stuffing up a lot of different drawers and not really using that space? It's a great time for you to get rid of that. Make space, create space in your home environment so energy can flow, so you can heal, so you can have more breathing space, so you can be clear about who you are, about how to heal from the daily, the conflicts of our daily lives. You know, we need a home, we need a place to go to nourish, to get nourishment, to nurture our souls. The 4th house is a very soulful place, and if this full moon is very close to your IC, even more, is reconnecting to your roots. And I don't mean necessarily the past, although you could be letting go of the past, literally, like family, you know, dynamics, past family stories, family drama, etc. But a place where you can reconnect with your roots, because if you think about plant, that's what the IC is, that's what the 4th house is. It gives you sustenance to do all of the other things. So it's where you recharge your soul, is in the 4th house. So this is what this full moon eclipse is about for you, moving on from anything that's poisoning that root, that's not giving you the sustenance you need. If there isn't enough watering, if there isn't enough soil, you know, nurturance in that soil, this is what you're tending to. And again, reminding that this is in Taurus, so it is about values. Is anything that doesn't resonate with your core values in your home environment, in your family environment, in the family dynamics, in your immediate environment, you can change that. You can change that now. That's how we think with constructive astrology, okay? The empowerment is in your choice, is in your observation of what you need and how this energy can support you in changing that. Because this full moon eclipse is about combination and change. So what kind of change is going to support you in your life, in the life that you want to live, in the person that you want to be now? Yeah? All right. So for the late Aquarius and the early Pisces, these full moon will be happening in the 3rd house. Now, when it happens in the 3rd house, I think it's a wonderful placement to change mindset, to change your thoughts, like basic thought patterns. If there's anything that you're thinking, words that you're using that do not support your sense of self-worth, you know, I see people doing that a lot, like especially people that have strong Virgo, and maybe Pisces as well. I think it's the Pisces Virgo axis. It goes, oh my God, I'm so stupid. You know, like there are ways that we speak to ourselves in the kind of we don't even pay attention. It's like, oh, it's harmless. Well, it isn't. Don't call yourself names when you commit mistakes. Don't do that, because words have power, and you're really affirming something. You're really diminishing. You're really chipping away some important energy from your energy field somehow, you know, if you keep calling yourself names and etc. There's a volition on those words, behind those words, of chipping away your confidence as a person. So with the full moon in the 3rd house, you can work on that. You can work on that. Words that you use to speak about yourself, words that you use in general. If you're just, you know, using negative words to describe situations, you can change that pattern. And honestly, I don't mean in a Pollyanna way. I'm not talking about fake toxic positivity here, okay? But it is important to be aware of the choices we make when we talk about things and how we talk about things, especially about ourselves as well. Because words have power. And any witch out there will know that. Words have power. That's how we focus energy. It's by saying something, speaking it up, writing it down, you know. And so this full moon eclipse can be great for that. You can write things down, you can journal, you can reread your journals, you can see where you're at in your process, and you can change a sort of a mindset and a communication pattern as well. How do you express yourself? Do you express yourself in a way that really resonates and honors your core values or not? Because again, it's a Taurus moon. It's about core values. It's about self-worth. It says anything that relates to that in the third house area. And obviously, if there's any personal planets being picked up by this full moon, will give us even more clues about how to work with this full moon. What can you achieve during this full moon eclipse? What can you let go of? Okay. So it's very important that you bring this into your chart, into your story, your situation. Make it yours. Claim it as yours. Okay, don't let anyone tell you what it is and make you fearful of any astrological configuration. Okay, remember, this is constructive astrology. Yeah, this is the way that we work with astrology. Now, for the, you know, this full moon, the third house, sorry, I mean, obviously it can be about learning, it can be about studying, it can be about writing, if you're writing something. It can be about siblings as well. You know, there are a whole myriad of potential significance here for you as well. It really depends on your life situation, where you're at and what's happening to you. That's going to become more clear. Okay, so use this like little bit of information I'm sharing here to your own benefit. You know, make it yours, like I said. Now for the late Pisces, I already spoke, it was right in the beginning with the early Aries, and it will be a full moon in the second house. Okay, so just follow the timestamps and you can find the house there for you. You can find the bit of information that's relevant and important to you. Now let's make the most of this full moon eclipse. Let's use this energy, let's navigate this energy to bring change that makes sense, to or to use the change, because sometimes it's not up to us, like the change is happening, right? But to use this change in a way that will honor our values, that will be integral to our sense of self-worth, to our sense of stability. Okay, this is Taurus. All right, so transforming into that, that's the Scorpio to Taurus. Now, wishing you all a wonderful week and a wonderful preparation for this full moon eclipse. And I'll be seeing you all on Friday, where I'm going to talk about the chart of the full moon eclipse so you can add more information to it. Remember, astrology is detective work. You're gathering all of these little pieces of the puzzle and you're placing them, and it makes sense, and you're creating a bigger picture. All right. So that's it. Wishing you a wonderful week, empowering energies, and, you know, a lot of positive healing energies here from me to you, so you can make the most of it. And I'll be seeing you all on Friday. Bye now.